Hi, this is Pat Moorhead, and the 6.5 is live on the road at VMware Explorer 2023 in Las Vegas. And as you can hear, we are on the show floor. It is loud. There's a lot of activity, and in fact, about 150 people just exited stage left so we can come in and do a video for you. And I'm here with my co-host, Daniel Newman. Dan, how you doing?
You're so selfless when you offer to do these videos for all these nice people out there.
All right.
I do this for me. I just want you to know that. No, in all seriousness, it is really great to be here. It's always great to kind of see the evolution of technology happening so fast.
I'm still laughing at what you said. That was good.
Do it for you. Remember, sales 101.
Right.
Say you a lot.
Yes.
All right. But, you know, we're here, and it's interesting because we're in this really big inflection. It's kind of a seminal moment in tech. The multi-cloud journey has been really interesting. You called it 10 years ago when I was still in high school. And I basically have watched now digital transformation 3, 4, 5 all take place in like 3 years. You can call it 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. You can use whatever you want to use. But AI has come on so fast. It's changing every business, every industry. And it's basically become the theme of every single event. And it's no different here at VMware Explorer. I'm going to keep calling it VMworld, Pat, no matter how many times I say that.
You know, but it's okay. I think the stalwarts would love you for
I'm committed.
Yes, so
I'm
do that.
committed.
By the way, the other trend that we've seen is the edge. You know, everybody, 7 or 8 years ago, hey, it's going to be monolithic. Everything's going to be inside of this massive data center. We only need 3 of them. Well, it kind of reminds me of what was said about the mainframe about 40 years ago. But the AI plus the edge is powerful. And imagine that we have the leaders of AI, Robert, great to see you, and the edge, Blake, here from Lenovo. Thanks for coming on the 6.5.
Thanks for having us.
Great to be here.
Yeah, we have a great history with Lenovo and the 6.5. I mean, we've had your fearless leaders on. We haven't had YY yet, but we will see in the future. We're looking forward to your amazing big tent event coming up in Austin as well. So thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having us. I mean, we're really excited about Tech World coming up.
Yes.
Lots of really good announcements that we're going to be making around AI and our edge portfolio. So it's an exciting time here at Lenovo.
Right on the heels of the big race.
I know.
That was the last time we hung out with YY, actually.
We took up a lot of square foot in your paddocks.
Lucky
and we
you.
appreciate you. Thank you. And as I say, I only beg for one event, and that's it. So
For F1.
that's all we do for F1.
All right. So we're having fun here. Robert, I'd like to start with you talking a little bit about the AI journey. So Lenovo's clearly made some big proclamations around its plans in AI, $1 billion+ investment commitments, building out global AI data centers, AI-ready solutions. Talk a little bit about this kind of journey that the company's taking and how it's sort of using this to really build a reputation as being a big part of the global AI story.
Yeah, I think one of the most important things here is that we're not new to this journey. This is not a new commitment. We're not jumping into it. I've been with Lenovo since 2017 when we launched our AI business. So we've been at it for some time now. We've made some changes and adjustments along the way, but even from that initial commitment of $1.2 billion investment into our emerging technology space, including edge computing and AI, that's really been the foundation that we've been building upon. We're one of the largest AI infrastructure vendors in the world, one of the top 3 in the world, and that's based on those investments. What we're doing right now is we are doubling down on that. We're putting another $1 billion into our AI business to scale it out very quickly, to take what we've built as a foundation and bring it globally for enterprise organizations.
Yeah. So I'll shift to Blake now. Blake, if you look at the last 40 years of IT, compute goes as far as it can to the edge as possible, right? And let's just say shorthand, we went from mainframes to minis to client server, mobile, but we have a lot of heavy duty processing going on to the edge, and whether it's in a hospital like we talked about in the green room, or at retail, or any web 4.0 that you can think of.
Yeah.
Smart manufacturing, smart this. Can you talk about how you're infusing AI into the edge?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, one of the key drivers for edge computing is this idea of, new different AI opportunities at the edge. So when we think about predictive analytics, computer vision, generative AI, believe it or not, in a few corner cases, we see that starting to unlock a lot of untapped potential for companies. And like Robert said, we've been at this for just about 6 years, building purpose-built edge computing hardware. And there's kind of two things or two transitions that we're seeing happening. One is the business cases you alluded to, which is there's a massive opportunity for consolidation of resources at the edge. So similar to the mainframe, we see in a retail example, we've got point of sale, video management, surveillance, smart IoT applications. We can build a case for edge computing just around consolidating those workloads. But at the same time, there's this transitional period around AI that's also introducing this new opportunity, but also some complexity.
Sure.
That we've got to figure out how to put data center-like GPUs inside systems that don't overheat in the back of a store closet or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. It's a big challenge.
So edge to cloud, Robert, I mean, the edge is clearly going to be a massive part of the future. And I think this early wave of data center AI has kind of been all about the GPU. It's just kind of, but I think we're all seeing it. It's going to go to the application. It's going to go to the phone. It's going to go to the PC. It's going to go to the smaller edge data centers. There's just too much data. No way you're going to move it all in between. And Lenovo's building out a portfolio of edge ready, cloud ready, but kind of it's AI ready.
Yeah.
Talk about how you've sort of gone about deciding what goes into that portfolio, what solutions you're leading with. How is that being built out? Because I think you're trying to solve the problem of what do customers need right now with AI, and how do we make it really simple?
Absolutely. AI is going to be everywhere, and our mantra is bring your compute to where your data is, or where your data is being generated. So bring your AI to the data. Don't bring your data to the compute. So you don't have to pipe everything back to the data center or cloud. It really doesn't make sense. So we have to put purpose-built AI systems along the spectrum of edge, from pocket to edge, to core data centers, and even into the cloud. At Lenovo, we build over 70 AI-ready systems across our ThinkEdge, Think Agile, and Think System portfolio, and then also purpose-built AI systems. Like we actually have a systems purpose-built for generative AI workloads. Yeah. We've got systems that are purpose-built in our edge portfolio for computer vision at the edge. So there's going to be a mix of having systems that are AI-ready, and then also systems that are purpose-built for AI workloads.
Yeah, it's interesting. Back of the envelope, right? Does generative AI, is it 10x more, 5x more compute that's required? Well, it depends. It does just depend. But we do know it takes more horsepower, and with more horsepower means heat. Blake, you had talked about that. I'm curious, on the edge, what are some of the challenges that you're finding that you're having to solve with AI? And in fact, I think you brought out a brand new ThinkEdge platform recently, second generation of a platform. Maybe talk about the types of problems that's solving.
Yeah, so maybe I'll just talk about the two different products. So the first flagship product within the ThinkEdge portfolio was the SC350 V1. It was way ahead of its time. It really kind of was the first system that people started centering, enterprise workloads outside of the data center with the same availability, security, reliability. What we've done in this next version was we've basically created two different systems, one of which is a short depth 1U, the other of which is a short depth 2U. And what we've been able to do with both systems is, while we have definitely a need for consolidation on the 350 V2, so we've optimized it for both storage and interconnectivity, reliability, so you can get extremely compact 3-node clusters running something like VMware Edge Compute Stack to do enterprise workloads. But say in the day of tomorrow, where you want to start implementing AI, you can also add another node to that solution that allows you to throw two NVIDIA A2s into the same chassis. So a lot of the different areas that we're seeing, some of which I've already mentioned, obviously retail. Not only are we trying to create new efficiencies within the store itself, but we're also trying to help customers augment their customer experience, right? How do we bring the customer back into the store? And you do that by better understanding more about your customer, who they are, what their demographic is, and where they spend their time. These types of solutions, they actually create more and more revenue opportunity for maybe a retailer per patron, right? Because we can do targeted promotion, deals, loyalties, and rewards. So that's one example of where you can take one of those systems today and then maybe scale as you go with implementing something like TrueScale along the way. It really helps the customer right size today, but also have that vision for where they want to be in the future.
Now, so heat and space and maybe as a service.
That's
right?
right.
Excellent.
Also increasing the GPU acceleration performance. We double the amount of GPUs in that system. So, and we're bringing in the latest NVIDIA L4s. So now you're talking of something that's 4 to 5 times the GPU performance of what we had in the previous generation.
I love it.
It's really impressive.
I love it.
Yeah, I really like the retail application. It's a great example of where you'll see, a lot of compute horsepower, software. You're going to see application specific for industries, and you're going to see generative application opportunities because consumers are going to want what they're going to want. They're going to want a better experience in the store to come closer to what we get when we shop at home.
That's right.
So we have a long way to go. Lenovo's been trying to, really build out its reference with its AI Innovators program. Big investments in that area. I believe you started it out back in 2022. Talk a little bit about that program and how is it doing? Are you achieving what you set out to achieve?
Yeah, it's been a really successful program since we launched it. We have over 45 companies in our Innovators program covering nearly 200 plus enterprise grade AI solutions. Really the premise behind it is when we started going to market in the enterprise to bring AI capabilities, whether it's infrastructure, or management systems or even applications, really customers were faced with it. They had to stitch this together themselves. They had to piecemeal this together. They were working with multiple vendors. Maybe it was us for the infrastructure, maybe someone else for the manageability layer, someone else for the application. That becomes really complex to bring together an AI solution. So what we're doing is we're actually working with these software vendors that have really great AI capabilities, really great AI IP that they've developed, and we're validating that on a full stack solution. So we can show up to a customer and say, here's everything you need to go do in-store analytics. Here's everything you need to do loss prevention in a retail store or manufacturing. Here's the full stack to do visual inspection on your assembly lines. It's really powerful. That has been resonating so well with our customers, and we're seeing it just take off.
Yeah. So Dan and I like to joke that since November, we've been spending 90% of our time on AI, right? And it really started off this big, what does it mean to consumer, right? Search engines, things like that. And then it started to pivot to more enterprise SaaS. And then it's now moving to enterprise infrastructure and on-prem software. But the number one question I get when I'm talking to an enterprise is, hey, this consumer stuff is neat, but until you can help me it not drift and help me find a way to securely use my proprietary data to make it better, it's really not interesting to me. So I'll give this one to you, Blake. What is Lenovo doing with the AI plus storage plus data to help solve some of those challenges or answer those questions?
Yeah, I think
just make it simple.
Maybe I'll play up a little bit of what Robert said. So one of the things that I think our customers struggle with the most is, number one is they have to get to that proof of value, right? So they're trying to take a piece of technology and a piece of software and create some residual business outcome. If you can prove that on a bench, it's one thing, right? And even if you can deploy to maybe 10 different stores, that may even be what success looks like. But the difference is that doing that in a data center where you have one location with 1,000 systems versus 1,000 locations and maybe 2 to 3 systems running, the things you run into is this issue with scale, right?
Yeah.
And it also gets into managing the full stack. So yes, at the application and orchestration layer, there's things that we're going to want to do lifecycle just like we do in the data center. But like, how do you get from bare metal to full stack at 1,000 different edge locations?
Right.
So we recognized this very early on in our journey, and one of the things that we've been focused on is building a platform, Lenovo Open Cloud Automation toolset, that allows a customer to take a system, ship it to a location, securely authenticate it, and bring up a full stack, and be able to manage remotely from the cloud which applications they're going to deploy. But then also, to your point, is what happens when they need to change something?
Yeah.
Maybe they want to scale from one ISV that does one particular use case in the store, in the hospital, to that maybe like loss prevention, and scale to something that's more customer experiential centric. So those are a couple of examples of the value that we're bringing, not just in the box, but also around it to our customers.
So something that's really a red hot topic that's not so technical, but it's a bit more ephemeral, is the responsibility, the governance, the ethics around AI. As we deploy this stuff, it's great that we can, but the question is becoming often if we should. When you talk about industries, we're talking about everything from PII data. We're talking about wanting our systems of record to be able to reference, using things that look like recommenders and filter systems that maybe work for product, but we don't want it to work when it's personal data for people. What is Lenovo's sort of thought? You're not necessarily building the apps, but you are kind of an ecosystem for picking and choosing. Do you have a position around the ethical and responsible AI that you could share?
It's a timely topic, especially with more and more generative AI capabilities coming in. Really what we're seeing in this new paradigm of AI, when everyone's talking about generative AI, really what's happening on a practical level is we're democratizing AI. AI over the past 5 years has taken, a lot of effort, a lot of lift. Not that there's not value in it, but there's been a lot of lift. If you want to do computer vision, you may have to fine tune a model and have a data scientist actually work on that. With generative AI, you have these large language models that can take more generalized questions and give responses, and then we put it on the internet and gave everyone access to it, right? So, we're seeing this democratization of AI, which is great, but then it brings up a lot of ethical questions. When you don't have a PhD data scientist that's trained in how to implement AI in a responsible and ethical way, it brings up a lot of questions for how you manage that and how you deal with that. And I think there's a couple ways that, we're looking at responsibility and ethics when it comes to artificial intelligence. Last year, we launched our own responsible AI committee in Lenovo. So we're reviewing any AI solution or capability that we're consuming ourselves using internally at Lenovo, or if we're recommending it to a customer, it goes through this governance process, and for good reason, because we want to make sure that we're not putting our customers or even their customers and their patrons or employees in harm's way with these AI systems.
Yeah, it's interesting. Huge challenge, particularly when you operate in hundreds of companies. It's like, how do you possibly be the traffic cop for all that content? It's got to be tough. Hey, I'm going to take this great strategic question that Dan asked. I'm going to ask Blake you a very straight up, more tactical question, which is why should customers use ThinkEdge? What's the advantage? There's a lot of options from OEMs, ODMs, and everything in between. Quite frankly, even the CSPs are getting into the edge game as well, because they're trying to figure out, wait, after 14 years of the public cloud, why is 75% of the data not in the hyperscale data center?
At the heart of it, it's, why should somebody choose Lenovo? Like I mentioned, we started our journey about 6 years ago. Today, we have around 8 platforms that we've built from the ground up. So we're talking about nothing leveraged from third party. These aren't, tier 3 and 4 different, piece parting systems together. So we've basically started from the ground up. Now, we've also been at it for a little while. So even beyond the 6 years, we've been deploying infrastructure, yes, in the back of stores, back of hospitals, but all the way down to where patient data gets collected, right? You think about the thin client sitting behind the screen at your doctor's appointment. These are all Lenovo deployments. So we've obviously got a lot of experience here. But when you really get down to it, you take a look at the system, and yeah, it can look like a black box until you start pulling back some of the layers. A couple of good examples are physical and digital security. So from a physical security standpoint, when we deploy edge servers, we actually have tamper and motion detection sensors in the system that can actually be factory configured to basically wipe drives should they be detached from a wall or take it too far away from a specific geolocation. Another example is actual tamper detection with the actual physical ports in the system, which is actually unique. So same thing, we can infer what a specific malicious behavior might be, and we can lock a system down or even wipe drives. Another area, it still amazes me that that today in my role that I would actually be contemplating things like acoustics. But one of the things that we found out when we were trying to do some highly complicated AI algorithms at the edge was that, hey, if you put a standard, 2U rack server with 4 GPUs,
Really loud,
it's extremely loud,
right?
And so much so it's harmful. If you're in the back of a store or near a, maybe it could be a janitorial closet, you're combating with what could be a couple of people having to have a conversation, in a hospital room next to a system. So we've actually optimized acoustics for this system. That, and I think, we continue to push the boundaries of how much storage and compute and acceleration can we put into these systems. And I got to tell you, if you haven't come over and seen the pedestals, I mean, you really start to, it really comes to fruition when you put this system next to one of its data center siblings, and it really becomes more real, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's apparent to me that Lenovo is making huge investments in the edge. And listen, as analysts, we need to be very careful in how we say things for obvious reasons. But your team had said, hey, we have the broadest portfolio of edge. I'm like, prove it. I want to show me the check boxes. How are you measuring that? I'm like, okay, yep, you have the most comprehensive edge portfolio out there by this metric. And I think that says two things. First of all, I see it as Lenovo's commitment to the edge, but also the reality that the edge is kind of the Wild West of form factors. You can go from the edge where they have raised tile flooring, right? Which is kind of like a data center on the edge.
Right.
You can go through a fast food drive-through where I can see that server, it's screwed into the wall.
That's right.
Right next to the person taking your order, to a bank or a trust department where it's underneath and they're looking face to face at the customer. So the variability on the edge is pretty crazy. So there we go. Anyways, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on. I feel like we've literally been to the edge and back of AI.
Absolutely. I think we should do IoT next when you want to talk about complicated form factors.
Well, let's go another 15 minutes.
Let's go 30. Let's do it all day. You guys don't have meetings, do you?
Yeah, this is just intermission for us. We're ready to go.
Exactly.
Well, Robert, Blake, thank you both so much for joining us here on the 6.5.
My pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
All right, everybody, tune in for all our episodes here at VMware Explore 2023 Las Vegas. For Patrick Moorhead and myself, it was fun having you here. Subscribe to all our shows, but we got to go now. We'll see y'all later.